In the Lord of the Rings films, we only see a few key parts of Gondor: Minas Tirith, Osgiliath, the Paths of the Dead, and Ithilien. In the books, we get mentions of several more: Pelargir, Kalimbil, Linhir, Dol Amroth. And throughout the Legendarium, we hear smatterings of the occasional town, settlement, region, or lord that a character is from. But what else really is in Gondor? When you visit MCME, you'll soon find that our Gondor consists of much more than the sights seen in the movies or mentioned in the books. This is because we wanted to construct a version of Middle-Earth that felt lived in. We didn't just build the grandeur, but the little things too. In this tour, we will share with you some locations in our Gondor that are little known, whether because they weren't part of the main story or because we created them ourselves. We like to refer to these areas as non-canon locations, although that might still mean different things. These places could be insinuated but not explicitly described. They might be an assumption or requirement of a city system. Some might even be from other Lotter content, such as Lotter Online. And some may be completely of our own creations with lore we constructed as well. But whatever kind of non-canon it is, it's all done with the intention to enrich Tolkien's Middle-Earth. As extensive as his writing was, much of Middle-Earth is still left untouched. So in building the map, we too have to do some world building. When world building, there are several things our designers have to contend with. One key among them, aside from complying with the books and films, would be realism. So let's see how realism is created in southern Gondor. Imloth Melui is mentioned in Return of the King as the home of Iareth, a worker in the House of Healing in Minas Tirith. She was the one who invoked the old lore that the hands of a king were the hands of a healer. She inspired Gandalf to bring Aragorn to heal Faramir. Iareth came from Imloth Melui, the Valley of Roses. It is located in Losarnak, Gondor. It was built on the map in 2015 and was led by builder Tiranistraz. But I actually brought you here to see something right beside Imloth Melui, a beacon. Many know the Gondor beacons as the 7 on the north side of the White Mountains, starting with Amondine. These are canonically mentioned in the books and iconic in the films. What we don't hear much of, however, are the southern beacons. They are mentioned to exist in southern Gondor as their communication system, scattered along the foothills of the White Mountains all the way to Belfalas. But unlike the northern beacons, we don't know their names, number, or locations, so we can think of these as insinuated or inferred builds. Next to Imloth Melui is the next southern beacon to Minas Tirith. You can follow these all across southern Gondor, all the way to Dol Amroth. For this video, however, we're just going to follow them to Cold Lake Manor. It's a long walk, so let's speed things up with a bit of a montage. Cold Lake Manor is completely non-canon. There's no mention of it verbally, no map label or image existing. Cold Lake Manor is located in Belfalas and, on our server, is known for the nearby triplet of windmills. It was built in 2018, starting from a trial job for Henry Guard and accompanied by Biwot. Cold Lake Manor is an example of showing the social orders in Middle-Earth. We do see in the books and movies that Gondor has a king, princess, lords, knights, and so on. It's not difficult to surmise that their social orders, like many high fantasy works of fiction, resemble those found in feudalism. And a key part of the feudal orders were the manor systems, or farms and villages that were part of an estate owned by nobles. There are more examples of social orders in the architecture all over southern Gondor. Castles, farms, even varying social orders within cities. These introduce more depth into Middle-Earth as an actual world. Part of breathing life into Middle-Earth means accounting for what daily lives its people would have. The next stop on our tour will be the Salt Flats, but it would take too long to get there on foot, so instead, I paid a boat at Dol Amroth to take us there. The boat trip out here took a little bit longer than I was hoping, but we're finally here. Let's check out this unassuming area of windmills here in Anfalas. You might think at first that this is snow, but it's actually salt. These are the salt flats, built in 2016 by Roxite, Greglas, and Kisos, handling much of the region. One day, our builders said Gondor's salt had to come from somewhere. They were mariners with coastal regions, so what better place than the sea itself? Realism in world building includes economy, goods for trade and circulation, wealth. Sure, we don't hear much of this in the books, but creating the rest of Gondor means accounting for holes in the world that were rarely considered and filling them with solutions and creativity. The salt flats are an example of a required, assumed part of Gondor. So where did Gondor's salt come from? They come from the non-canonical salt flats in Anfalas. Being right by the sea, it's a convenient place for harvesting and collecting salt. Perhaps if you walk through the world enough, you'll be able to pinpoint other locations that clearly produce specific goods. So what else do we consider when world building? First, there's scale. Our map is currently at a 1 to 100 scale to how Middle-Earth would be in real life. There's no way we can fit everything realistic in, so we have to focus on key details of the world and work from there. But at least a small map is easier to fill up, right? Then there's the build aesthetics and style. As you saw in our previous video, MCME uses its own custom textures and models. Creating textures that complement our style and building structures that complement the textures require persistence and skill to get right. It all comes down to making sure each build is part of the world. So that's all for today's exploration of Gondor. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and comment below what kind of world building you'd like to see in Middle-Earth. And don't forget to check these places out for yourself on our server. Our IP address is just in the description. We look forward to seeing you there.